Did I read all of the Bridgerton books with an English accent? Yes, I did, but that is not a part of this video. We are reviewing this book. Hello and welcome to this video. I am going to be doing another book review. If you missed the last one, then maybe check it out. You don't have to though, there's no pressure. Most likely I'm talking to one or two people specifically, so thanks for joining me in this video. So, two things. The last book review I did two separate videos. One where I had some spoilers and one where I didn't have spoilers. I'm going to try and just do one video with no spoilers for this book, specifically because this is a good book. Secondly, I'm going to try and not compare this book to the previous book too much. That said, I think we should get it out of the way right at the beginning. This book is actually a good book. So, the last book, I wouldn't recommend reading it, because it was just not great. This book, however, I would recommend reading because it is a very good book, and there's a sequel that I will be reading at some point or another. I'm very happy that I got the chance to read this book. This is actually, even though it was in a blind date with a book, this is a book that I previously kind of knew about. The only thing I remembered was the cover, and I didn't remember anything other than that. But I knew that it was a book that was on my to-be-read list. So, this is the book that I am referring to. It is titled Belladonna. It is by Adalyn and this is a really good book. I genuinely really liked it. It is a YA historical fiction fantasy book. I don't know if I got all those tags, but yeah, YA historical fiction fantasy. So it was really good. I'm going to now read the back synopsis for the first time with you guys. For as long as Signa Faro has been alive, the people in her life have fallen like stars. Orphaned as a baby, 19-year-old Signa has been raised by a string of guardians, each more interested in her wealth than her well-being, and each has met an untimely end. Her remaining relatives are the elusive Hawthorns, an eccentric family living at Thorn Grove, in a state both glittering and gloomy. Its patriarch mourns his late wife through wild parties while his son grapples for control of the family's waning reputation, and his daughter appears... Oh, I skipped a line. And his daughter suffers from a mysterious illness. But when their mother's restless spirit appears claiming she was poisoned, Signa realizes that the family she depends on could be in grave danger, and enlists the help of a surly stable boy to hunt down the killer. However, Signa's best chance at uncovering the murderer is an alliance with Death himself, a fascinating, dangerous shadow who has never been far from her side. Though he's made her life a living hell, Death shows Signa that their growing connection may be more powerful and more irresistible than she ever dared imagine. Yeah, I'll say. Going into the book, I did not know that Death was going to be a character that we see and that we meet. The very first chapter, the prologue, introduces us to Death as a character. So I was very, very excited when it did that. I was very excited to meet him. And he is the best character in the book, okay? He is by far the best because first of all, he is just really cool because Death, you know, he's a cool guy. He's really cool though because he's described as like being shadows, and just the way he's described, very cool. He's also very funny. So the first quote, one of my favorite quotes in the book is, "Relax, little bird, I only came for some rousing gossip." That is said by Death he says that to her. There's another point where a character, this is kind of a spoiler, but not really because it happens very early on in the book. A character dies and the main character, Signa, is the one who kills her. Death's response to being there and seeing it happen is, well, that's one way to shut her up. So he's a very fun character, and I love Death. I love him. The other character, the surly stable boy, is also a really fun character. So Signa has 2 love interests in the book, one being the stable boy and one being Death. This book does the love triangle dynamic very, very well. I can't say much more than that without like potentially giving something away. It's just done really well. I would say in every book from here on out that has a love triangle, it needs to be done this way because this is the only correct way to do it. You'll understand when you read. But her and the stable boy have this really cute, fun, kind of dynamic conversation when they first meet. They get on a train and they just have this like kind of quippy banter almost, and it felt very reminiscent to Anya and Dimitri from the animated Anastasia movie. So if you like Anna and Dimitri, if you like their relationship, then you'll probably like Signa and the stable boy, because they have that kind of relationship, at least in that one particular scene. There's still some quips later on, but as they get closer, there's a little bit less quippiness. But I love both the stable boy and Death, and I think it's just a very well done love triangle situation that happens. There is the mystery throughout the book of this family. The mom was killed and the daughter is now sick, and Signa takes it upon herself to essentially solve the murder of the mom. She very much knows that it was a murder. Everyone else thinks it was a sickness, but the name of the book is Belladonna. The reason the name of the book is Belladonna is because she dabbles with some belladonna, which brings me to my second favorite quote. My second favorite quote, actually this might be my first favorite quote, honestly, is, "I don't have any berries with me, you ridiculous heap of shadows." When I first read this quote, I happened to be reading the book out loud to myself with an English accent. Why was I doing this? Because it's fun. You should try it. But so imagine this quote. I'm gonna read it for you again. This quote is so much better in the English accent. So, "I don't have any berries on me, you ridiculous heap of shadows." I really channeled my Hermione Granger for that one. That is why that is my favorite quote, because I read it out loud to myself in an English accent. And the English accent makes it so much better. I don't really know where this book actually takes place. I just know that it is during a period of time where potentially people had accents that were a bit more posh, a bit fancier than the ones that we have now. So, you know, I read a couple of chapters of the book with an English accent, and it was a very fun experience, and I highly recommend that you do that with books that are period pieces. Another thing I will say about this book is, because there is that mystery element, I was trying to guess who the culprit was throughout reading it. And I'll admit it, I accused some innocent people of being the bad guy, okay? I thought I was on the right track, you know? Sometimes you see a lead, you see a string, and you pull on it, and then it turns out it undoes your entire sweater. So moral of the story, I accused a few people that I thought were gonna be the bad guys, and they weren't the bad guys, but so did Cigna. So really, I'm on her same page. I didn't think that the people she thought, I didn't necessarily also think, but I can't really explain that. I guess we weren't on the same page, because she accused somebody and I didn't think it was them, but I accused somebody and she never actually thought it was them. There was one person that I accused that she also ended up accusing, and then immediately after she accused them, it was proven that they they were not the culprit. So we were on one page, one of the same pages together, me and Cigna, homegirl. All that is to say is just that it's a good story that is spun. And there's probably going to be somebody who reads the book and just instantly knows as soon as they meet the character that they're the bad guy, and that's cool. I was not that person, but I did get there eventually. I did eventually know who the bad guy was before Cigna did, so that's a win in my book. I think I deserve a gold star for that one. Speaking of stars, I am going to give this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend that you read this. There is a sequel that is called Foxglove that I will be adding to my TBR to read at some point. I don't know when, because, you know, we're still in February. I'm doing the blind date with a book thing. I still kind of have a somewhat semblance of a plan for what I want to do for future months as far as themes that I want to read, but I will eventually get to the sequel of this book. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all that I can say about this book, without giving any spoilers or anything away. I don't want to give spoilers away for this book because I do think it was really good. It is a YA, fantasy, historical fiction kind of thing. So if you enjoy those genres, then you will probably enjoy this book, to be completely honest. If you don't enjoy those genres, then you're wrong. Those are probably some of the best genres there are. Oh, also romance. There is, yeah, I mentioned the love triangle, completely forgot about it. There's the romance in this as well, which is, you know, probably the best genre of books. If you disagree, then that's, you know, you're totally fine. That's very valid. There's a lot of bad romance novels out there, as I have discovered with the last book that I read. Anyway, that is probably good for this book review. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend Belladonna by Adalyn Grace. You should read it because it's a good book. That's all I have to say. Okay, goodbye! Oh my gosh, that was a big gulp. Okay.